Let's start off by talking about the US election. What is your view about what's going to happen? Because you've said before that crypto regulation should be a purple issue, should be bipartisan. And certainly when you look at the legislation that has gone through already, progressed through Congress, we have had support from both sides. But does this issue risk becoming a partisan issue going forward?
I don't think that this is going to become a partisan issue. And I think the reason why is that just like other major general purpose technologies, whether you're talking about electric vehicles or AI or blockchain and crypto, these are technologies that the United States needs to compete and win in. And I think what we saw last year was very much bipartisan support for regulatory frameworks for crypto markets and for stablecoins. And I think that's becoming even more bipartisan. I think this is showing up, as you noted, as a presidential election issue. And so my view is no matter who wins the White House, Congress itself is set to act. And there's really good work that's being done. And it's coming from both sides of the political spectrum.
Jeremy, when we think about regulation stateside, we've heard from the industry talking about needing more clarity, needing more certainty for growth. But from the perspective of the retail investor, particularly, of course, because we've seen the spot Bitcoin ETFs, Ether ETFs coming through as well, what will more regulation do for them in terms of their protections?
I think a lot of the concerns have to do with things like making sure that the people who are, issuing or launching digital commodities are doing that with a proper disclosure regime, so that you're not dealing with literally outright fraud or not credible actors. I think the markets themselves for these digital commodities, having the right kinds of market policing that is necessary to protect investors. Those are some of the things that I think the average, investor or user would like to see have in place, and I think that's what a lot of the legislation that's focused on regulating digital commodities and digital securities kind of goes after.
Let's talk about stablecoins. Let's talk about USDC. So much promise in the stablecoin, of course. But when you look at the statistics, it's still very much tied to crypto trading. What is holding it back from becoming more mainstream? And is it really the kind of regulatory and guardrails side of things?
So we've definitely seen, and this has been shared through a lot of different sources, a kind of decoupling between the kind of use of stablecoins as a payment and transaction technology and use of stablecoins within these digital asset markets. And so when you, and this has really been the case in this last year, and so the numbers in terms of the growth in on-chain transactions happening with stablecoins like USDC has been very strong. And so we are seeing some of that decoupling, and we're seeing that driven by use cases that are really powerful. Cross-border payments is a very common use case we're seeing grow. We're seeing use in, essentially store of value. People and firms that want to store value in digital dollars, not in local currencies. And so these are forms of utility that are growing. But in terms of the other part of your question, it's critical that there's technology problems to solve, and the industry works on those, which is how to make this kind of invisible and seamless for someone to get in and start using this the same way they might use WhatsApp. And I think we're inches away from that. And then, of course, legal certainty. All around the world, governments are passing laws that treat stablecoins as digital cash equivalent money. As that happens, the use of this will, in our view, significantly expand because households and firms and financial institutions will be able to use this knowing kind of what that legal standing is.